how to discuss intimacy issues with your partner. This is a big issue. If you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, you're going to have times when you really need to talk and share your heart, what's going on, to the person that you love. That's our topic today. So if you've yet to subscribe, hit the button, subscribe. We have so many relationship videos that can help you in your walk with each other. And also, if you have a question, there's the box. You can put it in there and we will get to you as soon as possible. You know, discussing issues, and these are usually the ones that kind of are challenging or frustrating or things you know that might be a time bomb. How do you want to do that? I'm going to give you a few tips on this because all of us have this moment. And it's usually that moment of dread. Like, I know I'm going to have this conversation. I don't think it's going to go well. But if I'm not heard, it's even going to go worse because I'm starting to get, jacked up inside. I'm starting to have hurt and resentment and anger towards them. And I know I'm not myself. And I know it's because this event happened or I saw this attitude again. And I need to talk about it. Or, I have a need in my own heart or life. I don't feel like I'm being touched. I don't feel like we're having enough physical intimacy. I don't feel like we're doing something right, whether it's money or parenting. And we need to talk. And how to do this. Number one, clearly identify only the one thing you want to talk about. You know how it can get. We start off with this one topic and it's all over the place. Okay? Clearly, before you talk about it, write down options that you have, but before you present any of those, ask them to present options themselves. Now, you're doing this in writing before you set up the time to do this, okay? Because you want to be clear on what you're trying to discuss, because you might be here on parenting and we end up on money, your past, and your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. You don't want to have that conversation, all right? So now, set a time and place, and it can't be in your house. Because in-house behavior is different than out-of-the-house behavior. So go get a coffee, go do breakfast. Don't make it part of your date. Do not do that. Dates are for fun. But say, hey, let's go here, even if it's a park bench, okay? Let's sit down. I really want to talk about this one thing. And you want to frame the conversation. Say, I want to share my heart about this one topic. I want to hear solutions that you might have or feelings you might have about this topic. Okay? And then I want to share some ideas that I have about it and how we can resolve this. And I want to walk away feeling heard. So I need the first 5 minutes to share my side of what I'm feeling or thinking before you say anything, and then I'll give you the same permission to talk back to me without me interrupting you. This helps a lot of not getting into a fight, because only one person's talking. If you need to, set your phone, 5 minutes, okay, when that goes off, your turn, all right? Because you want to be able to be heard, because a lot of times in relationships, really it's not the problem. The problem is you want to be heard about the problem. And once you're heard about the problem can get smaller. You just want to hear that the other person sees you, and maybe they can validate it, maybe they won't validate it, but you want to be heard. Then, as you move towards the solution side, start working together. Say, we're a team, this is a problem. I'm the one in pain not being touched, or I'm the one who feels the challenges of providing more money for the bills, and so we need to talk about spending. I'm the one who feels that. Get to what the issue is, okay? Now, if it's a sexual issue, it's going to be loaded. So I would probably get the book we have called Upgrade Your Sex Life and say, hey, I want to read this book together, because it'll probably solve a lot of your problems. In there, we talk about your 5 different sexual expressions. We talk about setting up a sexual agreement, having a garden, and there's lots of positive things in there. You can flow through that conversation with material. And if there is a material that kind of fits your problem, that might be an okay thing to say, hey, let's read this book together. That's another way of doing it. However, you don't want to avoid it. Now, if you are unsuccessful in your attempts to be heard and trying to solve this problem, now, this is true of life. We are not alone. We're not meant to be alone. And there are people that can help you. If you're in a spiritual community, talk to your pastor, your rabbi, your priest. They can help you solve problems. If that's not an option for you, go to a counselor and solve the one problem you're trying to solve. You don't have to go to counseling for the rest of your life. And don't let them get into all your family of origin issues. Say, we're not here to discuss my family of origin. We want to solve this one problem. And we need help for her to be heard and for me to be heard and to maybe come up with some ideas that we don't have because we don't do this professionally, okay? And it's okay to also have someone in the area of finances, have someone in the area of parenting that you trust and to get their feedback on possible solutions. It's okay to look at blogs and information, but don't try to look at things to support your argument. Try to actually educate yourself. Now, these are some tips that you can use to help you have those difficult conversations. And you're going to have them, and some of them are going to be successful, and some of them are not. And when they're not, go to the next level. Say, okay, well, we really tried to solve this. Who can we trust, both of us trust, that we can talk about this and get more help? Because marriage, relationships, and parenting and life is not meant to be done alone. It's meant to be done in the context of community. And if you need that, add it to your life so that you two can navigate these things and so your relationship can be more fulfilling and satisfying and you know you have a strategy to get through things. A lot of couples don't have a strategy for conflict. I have a great teaching on fighting fair. It's in the book, The 10-Minute Marriage. And you can use that for your formula for how to fight if you're in a conflict. But this conversation is more about just sharing your heart and being heard. But if it's a conflict, get that information and walk through that so that you can have these discussions and enjoy each other, you know? And it's also, you know, it's okay to frame the positive before you get into the negative. You know, there's the sandwich theory, you know, of having these discussions in general. This is more on business or other situations. But it's okay to say, you know, darling, I really love this about our relationship and this about our relationship, and I love this, and I see this, and I see how hard you work and do this, and I see all these things. I really do see the bigger part of you. It's okay to put that frame first, and then talk about the problem. And then even at the end, even if it's unsuccessful, to still validate that they have value to you is another thing that you can do to help make these conversations a little softer. You know, I feel better if someone's approached me and say, you know, Dr. Weiss, I really appreciate that you do this and this and this, but what do you think about this? That's going to go better than, you didn't do this right, here's a better idea for you, right? You don't want to put someone on the fence. So when you're sharing, start with I statements. I'm feeling this, I'm seeing this, I'm experiencing this, I'm seeing this as an issue. Don't go into you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Even if it's part of it, like suppose you're not being touched, you can say, you know, I really have a strong need to feel loved. And the way I feel love is when you touch me. And when the touch goes away, I feel less love. It's different than, you're not doing it again. You're not doing it again. And then they get defensive. Avoid those by staying in your I statements. Well, I hope some of these tools are helpful for you. Some of these ideas are helpful for you. If you have a question, send it to us. If you haven't subscribed, please do that.